Cabin of Curiosities is out, available on Netflix. This is a horror TV series show that comprises of 8 different episodes, and each episode has been directed by a different director. But the series is presented to the audience by Guillermo del Toro. He is a Mexican director, the same person who brought you Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, and Shape of Water. So I decided to give this show a try and see whether it was worth spending time on all of the shows, and how does this all bring together in the tagline of Cabin of Curiosities, which is open your mind to fear. Now, when you see the trailer of Cabin of Curiosities, of course, it's very thought-provoking. There are visuals that will stun you, graphical elements, there's creepy images. And certainly, I feel that there's been a good amount of work that has been done to catch the attention of audiences like me who wanted to give these series a try. So, and it was also trending on Netflix for quite some time. This show has been nominated for 7 Primetime Emmys. So you know the importance of this show overall. So I decided to give it a try. And, let's start to unravel the different episodes that I personally liked. And they were the season 1, episode 1, which is Lot 36. The second was episode 2, which was the Graveyard Rats, and the episode 8, which was Murmuring. So you can see that I have missed out from 3 to 7, and I'll get back to that as to why I didn't. But especially for these particular 3 shows, why I really liked it. Let's talk about the episode 1, where this is about a person who's trying to sell things from storage places. He acquires them and he sells all the items because the owner hasn't come back, and all this goes out in auction. So he buys it, he sells it, and that's how he lives his life. He's in a lot of debt, and this guy is really struggling in life. And the story was ultimately he gets access to one store, which is Lot 36, and things start to unravel. You can see a scene where the owner of the entire lot, he shows a screen on his desk where he tells the new owner that look at how this previous owner used to act. He acts funny, almost like a chicken, steps going into his lot and then coming out and doing some sort of chicken steps. So it's very creepy. Being the first episode, I was looking forward to some kind of a hype and see how all this unfolds. And seriously, that did pan out well for me. The lightning in this show is dark, it's creepy. Of course, you want to start showing the monster coming out of Lot 36 because that's what it is. I know I'm giving you a spoiler here, but there is much more to it. But however, I think the overall acting, the ghost, the visual, the makeups, everything was quite good. You're always looking for, okay, what's coming next? What's coming next? So this is a very peculiar kind of a show. This is not a show that I have seen in a long time. And if I have to sum it up, I would say this is out of nowhere. You just start to believe it, like this is really happening. So it starts and ends very well. There is a good flow, there is a connection between it. I thought the set of the lot, as well as also for outside, everything was pretty good. And the same thing is also for the other episodes, which is Graveyard Rats. This is a show which is set in the old times, where one person who is the graveyard manager, he digs dead bodies so that he can get all the new ornaments, sell it, and reduce his debt. So that's also a creepy story, because all these graveyards back in those time, wherever they show it, has a lot of rats. So to actually take the cinematography in whatever way, in visual, effective CGI, or however you want to do it, and you're showing the underground of the funeral where rats live. And this guy, one night he ends up in this funeral, his rats just pull a dead body, so he goes along with the dead body, and he ends up pretty much underground of the funeral house, on the funeral, wherever the dead bodies are. And it's definitely very horror scene. It is creepy, and just for the person to come out of it, and also, I'm not going to reveal the ending to you. I just thought it was definitely nerve-wracking for me. The cinematography, as I mentioned, and all the other things combined. So the story was good. I thought it was directed well. The scenes, right from start to the end, they connected and flowed for me. The third one, the last one, the murmuring, was also something very interesting. These are two husband and wife. They love birds. They move from city to suburb somewhere next to the ocean. There is a isolated house. So right there, you start to think that something has happened. And the main protagonist in this story, she sees some photographs on the wall, and right from day one, she starts to hear these noises. I know you've seen a lot of stories like these where, a couple comes in and they start hearing noises, especially in this case, it's the girl. But, there's a lot to watch out for, because they are here to hunt birds. So they start to feel that maybe it's the bird noise or something. But how the story unravels, the emotions that are happening between the husband and wife who have recently lost their child, and there is a lot of friction in their relationship that has come. So just navigating that. But overall, ultimately, it's a horror show. I thought that this was also a different and eye-opener for me. I felt that I was glued to the screen, and I loved watching, as every scene was unraveling, trying to know the mystery behind the murder of boy and his mom in that house. What was happening behind the scenes? So all that stuff was very good. So I felt that these 3 episodes stood out for me in Cabinet of Curiosities. It was executed well. The acting was great. The sets and the lighting, it gives you that feeling that, this is something, it blends in the horror theme, especially on, if you see Guillermo del Toro, his movies, whether it's Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, they're all darkish, bluish background colors, and they try to give you that feel of, this is not daytime fantasy world. This is something more, darker version of that. Now, when it comes to the episodes that I wasn't a fan of, episode 3, which is Autopsy, episode 4, Outsider, episode 5, which is Pickman's Model, episode 6, Dreaming with Witches, and episode 7, which is The Viewing. I know this list is too long, but I was not satisfied with them. And I can tell you why. Because, you almost feel that these shows didn't feel very real as compared to the previous episodes that I just talked about. They feel more real. You've seen them happening. And you may argue that, okay, maybe something different is required. So that's why I'm not liking it. I'm so used to the ones that I talked about, the episode 1, 2, and 8. That's fine. I mean, that's your comment. You can write it below. But I felt that everything from Autopsy to The Viewing, they were kind of boring. They felt like it was a drag for me to sit there and watch as every scene unfolded. It didn't feel like it was something that kind of made sense. The story seemed to not resonate with me. When I'm wearing the hat of a reviewer, for example, in Autopsy, this guy comes in, he's got cancer, and he's dissecting patients, and somehow one patient has host in it. Outside, the story of a girl who wants to fit into this hot chick's group, and she buys so much of cream, and as a result of that, what happens after that? It is scary, but it's something that you try to question yourself. How is this happening? I mean, she lives with her husband is not questioning. I thought that was weird. So, and some things were too gory in it. I was not able to connect the dots. So, I mean, imagination sometimes has its limits, and I think that they were kind of crossed in these episodes, which I was not a big fan of. Decent though, but not up to the mark that I could highlight them. Pickman model, I just didn't understand what the story was here about. Dreaming with the Witcher, you have the Harry Potter lead in this show. He's speaking in the American accent. That I think that was good, but working with Indians and trying to have some potions to go back and bring your sister into. I just thought that was something over the top for me. And same thing with The Viewing. I mean, The Viewing is set in way back in the 1950s or 60s. And it just was, this guy who was leading the charge and inviting people for a viewing. It just felt to me that this was, a cocky guy trying to push his agenda on a bunch of people, and and then the creepiness erupts when they go to a different room. So not a fan of that, and I felt disappointed in these shows that I talked about. So if I have to summarize Cabinet of Curiosities, guys, I think it's a one-time watch. I was disappointed. I didn't feel the consistency. I understand they were all done by different directors, but I think under the umbrella of Guillermo del Toro, you kind of want to see some similarity. There is an effort there, but definitely not what I watched. So there is creepiness. I would say don't let kids watch it. But, this is not Hellboy. This is not the other movies that I talked about. I do want to say one thing is that when the show starts, the Guillermo del Toro, the series presenter, he actually is the one who is talking. He's giving a pitch on every show that's coming up. I think that's a brilliant move. And Guillermo does it. He has this big wooden furniture and he opens different drawers and cabinets and he takes out certain things from there. So he kind of hooks you. And his accent, the way he mannerisms, he's of course a seasoned director. So that keeps you, that's good. The music, the introduction of every show, that is good too. But as I said, guys, I was only impressed with 3 episodes, and the rest, which is 5 of them, were not up to the mark as far as I'm concerned. So I'm just going to give it 5 out of 10. That will be my review. Let me know, what did you guys think? Do you think the rating could have been more, or you like more episodes? Your rationale behind it. But I'll be coming back with more reviews. But until then, stick around and goodbye.